This video is dedicated to all of the unread books sitting on our bookshelves, silently judging us. Hi everyone, my name is Kayla and welcome back to Kay's Hidden Shelf, where we talk about books. Today I have something a little bit different for you. Normally I read a lot of fantasy, some sci-fi. Prior to starting this channel, I actually read a lot more diversely, and I'd like to get back into that a little bit by going into some of the classics that I hope to read in 2023. Now these are just the ones that I am prioritizing mainly for the reason that I have them as physical copies already, and they've been high on my radar for quite some time. So let's jump in with the first one, being Murusaki Shikibu's The Tale of Genji. Now this is a chunky beast, and this isn't the only chunky beast on this list. Now this is one that I attempted to buddy read before with Evie at She Was Only Evie. It just fell to the bottom of my TBR, unfortunately. I just couldn't get to it. It's an intimidating read. This is over 1,180 pages, so this is pretty beefy and the font is pretty small. It just got very intimidating, and with so many other commitments that I had, it fell into the back burner. It still intrigues me though. It's been judging me on my shelf ever since, and I'd really love to be able to get back to it this year. Now I feel like the description on the inside of the book does a beautiful portrayal of what we might find in the Tale of Genji, so I want to read that to you. In the early 11th century, Murusaki Shikibu, a lady in the high-end court of Japan, wrote what many consider to be the world's first novel. More than 3 centuries before Chaucer, the Heian era, 794 to 1185, is recognized as one of the very greatest periods in Japanese literature, and the Tale of Genji is not only the unquestioned prose masterpiece of that period, but also the most lively and absorbing account we have of the intricate, exquisite, highly ordered court culture that made such a masterpiece possible. Genji is the favorite son of the emperor, but also a man of dangerously passionate impulses. In his highly refined world where every dalliance is an act of political consequence, his shifting alliances and secret love affairs create great turmoil and very nearly destroy him. For me, this is just a great window into that time period, that culture, and the etiquette of court, how all of it was navigated. I imagine this is likely dramatized, but still, it's a window into the past, and I am really eager to see how it plays out. I'm reading the Edward Seidensticker translation. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. There are a lot of different translated versions of this. There is a guide that I found that was quite helpful, so I'll leave a link to that in case you're interested, but this is something I'm really eager to get to this year. Next is a little bit of a skinnier book, and that is Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. Now, Jules Verne wrote one of my favorite classics, and that was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I really enjoyed that. I love the characters, I love the story, the mystery, and just the whole setting of it was beautiful, and I loved every moment of it. So I'm really excited to continue with more Jules Verne works, and this is one that I've seen renditions of before, but I'd love to come back to the original story and see how it was done. This follows a professor who sets out on an expedition to a Icelandic volcano to journey to the Earth's core. As he sets out to find primordial secrets along with his nephew, this geologist discovers a menagerie on a prehistoric level, and it's just one adventure that I have been dying to go on for quite some time, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next is another shorter one, and this is The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I had read The Old Man in the Sea, and I just love the style of writing that he had for that book, and I believe this is his first novel, so I'd like to go back and see what he did with his first novel in comparison to The Old Man in the Sea. Let's read the back of this. A poignant look at the disillusionment of angst of the post-World War I generation, the novel introduces 2 of Hemingway's most unforgettable characters, Jake Barnes and Lady Brett Ashley. The story follows the flamboyant Brett and the hapless Jake as they journey from the wild nightlife of 1920s Paris to the brutal bullfighting rings of Spain with a motley group of expatriates. In his first great literary masterpiece, Hemingway portrays an age of moral bankruptcy, spiritual disillusion, unrealized love, and Vanished Illusions. Based on my experience with The Old Man and the Sea, I'm anticipating this to be quite an impactful read, so I'm really excited for that. Next on this list is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Now, this has been on my shelf for a while, again judging me, and this is one I picked up not because of the cover, but because the title and the name kept grabbing my attention. This follows a traveling salesman, Gregor Samsa, as he wakes one morning and realizes he's transformed into a monstrous insect. This is a story of unexplained horror and monstrous, nightmarish transformations. I'm really curious to see how the story plays out, how much horror is actually involved in it, as I am a little bit of a chicken, but I am really intrigued to read it. Apparently, it is still one of the most read works of fiction to this date worldwide, so that is incredibly impressive. After that, we have Persuasion by Jane Austen. Now, I've read Emma before, and that's pretty much all I've read in Jane Austen. It's just one of those authors that I have not gotten to, but I hope to read more of. Let's read the back. Anne Elliot is a woman with regrets. At the age of 27, she is considered a lost cause romantically. In spite of this, Anne is kind, dutiful, and sensible. But when the man she was once persuaded to refuse re-enters her acquaintance, she is forced to contrast him with her father's heir, long estranged from the family and only just arrived on the scene. Now, I do think I need to clarify something here, because I've said before in videos that I am not a big romance reader, and while that is true, romance isn't my favorite genre to read. However, I will say that I do find genuine relationships to be intriguing no matter the status of that relationship, whether it is friendship or if it's a romance. I just want to be able to see a genuine relationship between characters, how their relationship impacts one another, whether they develop from it in a good or a bad way. Where romance loses me is when the relationship is built on a rocky slope of first love or instant love, or in a way that is used by the author for dramatic effect to keep readers engaged in the plotline, alternatively using the romance for the sake of the plot. Those are pitfalls for me. Those are things that don't interest me. I am a character-driven reader, and for that reason, I just love seeing a deeper analysis of relationships, and romance feels like that category that can easily fall short for me. So I am intrigued to see how this stacks up. This comes highly recommended by Evie from She Was Only Evie, so I am looking forward to seeing how this works out. On to the last book in this list, and that is the most intimidating and probably the scariest one here. That is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Talk about a chunker of a book. This thing is huge. This could probably double as a weapon, but I'm going to attempt to read it. This broadly focuses on Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812, following three perspectives or three main characters throughout the story. Now, this is likely going to be a dense read with a lot of references. For that reason, I'll likely pick up the audiobook to go along with it and take it at a slow pace, as there's probably going to be a lot to follow and a lot to absorb in this. This is one of those reads that I've wanted to do for quite some time, but as you can see, it's quite intimidating. I've seen buddy reads going on for it, and I've thought maybe I should join those, but I wanted the freedom to just go at my own pace and not have to worry about deadlines or checking in with others. Just something that I can take my time with and absorb or research as I need to. With that plan in mind, I just hope it helps with my experience in it. I don't want this to be a frustrating read. I don't want to feel stuck. I'm sure I will at some points, but I want to try and make this as easy and as comfortable as a read as I possibly can. So those are all the classics that I'd love to be able to prioritize this year. There are some skinny ones and there are some chunky ones. I'd love to know though, which are your favorite classics? Do you have any that still stick with you after years from reading it? Do you have any that you're really excited to get to? Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thank you for watching and take care of yourselves.